I'm Miles Seaborn, member of Team Dynamic Discs, and I'm going to be talking to you today about tournament prep. So before we really even go into what do I take to a tournament, how do I prepare specifically for an event, first need to pick a tournament or pick an event. We'll talk about kind of why you would play a tournament, and that's where I want to start. A lot of people have been playing casually for several years, and they just start to think, well, maybe I should branch out and play a tournament, but why? Maybe you've noticed kind of a cap in your game. You've hit kind of a plateau. You've played with your buddies, your certain number of friends, and you haven't really gotten any better in a while. The competition of a tournament, when something is on the line, will always make you better, even if you play poorly. I think a lot of people think, well, if I play poorly, woe is me. I'm terrible. I didn't learn anything. Why did I do this? If you go into it with the right mindset of the competition will always show you ways that you can improve yourself, then you will come out of there gaining a new understanding of ways that you can better your game, both mentally and physically throwing a disc. I'm a competition guy. Some people just want to watch a Frisbee fly. That's their favorite thing. They love to see it cut through the air. And maybe a tournament's not right for you. But I'm big on competition. I love to play and I love to compete. And so that's kind of my reasoning for wanting to play tournaments is competing. And again, to compete, you need to get better. You'll always find someone who's better than you. You can look at Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki. Paul McBeth ruled the disc golf world for several years, and then boop, here comes Ricky. And now they're competing back and forth. And now early this year, we've already seen Eagle and Simon step it up a notch. So there's always someone better, and competition will always show you the ways that you can improve yourself. Most people, when they first play a tournament, they either love it or they hate it. Some people, like I said, it's just not for them. They just want to play casual golf and enjoy that, and that's perfectly fine. More than happy for you. But if you're like me, you'll love it, and you'll kind of get hooked. But a great way to start playing tournaments isn't to actually jump out and just jump right into a full-on tournament scene. Go find a local mini or league. We call them minis in the South. Leagues most everywhere else. Basically, it's a group of guys and gals that get together from your area. They play a little one-round tournament. Everyone puts in a few bucks. Usually it's a specific night or a specific day of the week. And it gives you a tournament feel without a huge financial investment, without taking time away from work, from family, all that stuff to drive and play a full 1 day or 2 day or 3 day tournament. The best way to find those is, you can go on Facebook and type in the name of your city, town, region, wherever you are, and follow it up with the word disc golf. And most of the time you will find a group that everyone's associated with in that area, and they'll have information about leagues and minis and even upcoming tournaments. So that's a great place to start. One of the other reasons to play tournaments and to get involved in the mini and league scene and then eventually on in the tournament scene is you will meet new golfers. You will meet people that will do things that you haven't seen before, and some of them will become good friends. That's one of my favorite things about traveling to tournaments is I get to meet new people and see new things that I haven't experienced before. Kind of get you out of your comfort zone, you will. If you play with the same people all the time, you're going to get used to that and you're going to do the same things. And yes, it's fun, but it doesn't get you out of your comfort zone. It doesn't challenge you at all. And so that's kind of what I like to do. Even if I'm just playing with friends casually, I'm almost always have something on the line because it helps you improve yourself as a golfer and ultimately as a person too. So now that we've kind of talked about the reasons why you would play a tournament, there are some differences in types of tournaments. It's not just going out and finding one close to you and tearing off after it. You might have heard the terms A tier, B tier, C tier. We're going to kind of talk about those today. The national tours and the majors and the pro tours and all that, we'll leave that off the table. Those are more for the pro level guys. But you'll hear these terms A tier, B tier, C tier. What those are is the different levels of tournaments that the Professional Disc Golf Association allows people to put on and to run. The A tier would be the premier event, the big one. Usually they're 2 days. In fact, I don't even think there is a single 1 day A tier, but there's at least 2 or 3 days involved. And it's a time commitment. It's a financial commitment. The entry fees are a little more expensive, but it's a bigger tournament, which means the field size is larger. The payout is bigger. All of those things. It has a more professional feel to it. B tier is just kind of in the middle of the road. What you'd think of has some of those A tier qualities, a little bit bigger, usually a little better payout, more people involved. Sometimes they can be 2 day tournaments, but a lot of times they're also 1 day tournaments. So that's a bonus. C tier is a small local event. you might see some people travel in, but for the most part, it's put on locally by a club or a crew or a person. And they're great ways to get your feet wet. So if you're just starting to play, I would look for those C tiers. There's no added cash stipulations, so you don't have you have the tournament directors trying to put in added money, which will draw more people in. Generally, they're a little smaller, easier to kind of get used to the tournament feel with. Most people at the lower level events too will be more helpful or willing to teach you and how to play tournaments. You don't go into it feeling, oh man, I hope I don't mess up and cost strokes or embarrass myself. Those are great ways to get started at those little local C tiers, even B tiers, those little one-day events. Because again, it's not a huge financial commitment. You're not taking a bunch of time off work, away from family. It's just a day, and you can go hang out with some friends, learn a lot, and enjoy your time there. One thing I would recommend is if you're going to start doing this, sign up for the PDGA. It's not that expensive. If you play a couple tournaments a year, it pays for itself. Because if you're not a PDGA member, you will have to pay a $10 entry fee with that. And so after a couple tournaments, that $10 entry fee kind of repays for itself. And so it's a good thing to join. Plus, you get some magazines every year. I think it's 4 of them. You get to see what's going on in the local scene. They send you some other goodies too. It's just a good way to kind of help the PDGA keep going and keep the sport growing. One of the other things, about picking a tournament is you don't want to travel too far, especially if it's your first tournament. A lot of those little C tiers, like I said, are local, so you can really kind of stay within an hour or two of home, and not have to spend all this money and time driving away. I'm from DFW, from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I just recently moved to Louisiana, but in that area we have, I don't know, there's got to be close to 100 tournaments a year. I'm not exaggerating. We had a local professional golfer, Emerson Keith. He played 71 or 72 tournaments last year, and most of them were within an hour or two of his house, and he lives in Dallas. And so it just gives you an idea of what's out there and available. Not all areas are like that, obviously, but a lot are. They have a lot of little local tournaments on every other weekend or once a month or something like that. So you can play those and kind of get the feel without driving too far. Kind of, we talked about driving. How far should you drive? And that really depends on what you want from the tournament. We talked about A tiers being little more expensive to play. There's also more added cash, more competition. If you were to happen to win one, the notoriety for you would go up. Hey, you won a bigger event. And so it really depends on what you want for it as far as how far you should drive. For me, I'm a full-time stay-at-home dad. My wife, bless her soul, works for us. She's a discipleship director at our church here in Louisiana. And so if I'm going to spend time away from my family, away from my kiddos, it has to be worth it. I do enjoy to play. I'd love to be able to go play all the time, but the sport's just not there yet. And so when I make a decision to go play, it has to be something based on, will I see a return? Will I see something return from that? And sometimes the return is just, kind of my cup gets refilled back up. I get out for a couple days and I get away from the family and I get to kind of refill my disc golf cup, if you will. I like the larger fields. I like the bigger tournaments. I don't play a ton of C tiers. I play mostly B tiers and some A tiers. I'll be going to GBO this year. That's a whole nother experience. You guys have listened to Bobby and Eric and Robert talk about that. And so all about that. I don't need to harp on that, but it really depends on what you want out of the tournament. If you're just wanting to play and have a good time and kind of figure out how this tournament scene works, stick with the one-day C tier, maybe a B tier, just to kind of get your feet wet. If you're already deciding, hey, I'd really like to play some bigger events, well, then you're going to have to drive. You're going to have to seek those out because those are fewer and far between. So just think about kind of what it is that you want out of the tournament, and that's going to dictate what level of tournament you play. So why play a tournament? The competition is going to make you better. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet new people. You're going to enjoy it. And it's a great way to get out of your comfort zone. Pick a tournament. What do you want out of it? Those are the two big things. So if you have any more questions, submit them to the Disc Golf Answer Man, and we'll talk to you later.